University for tonight's Wise Market Pack the House Whiteout at tonight's American East Conference Showdown between the University of Vermont Catamounts and your Binghamton University Bearcats. At this time, we ask you to kindly please rise if you are able. Remove your hats and join our players and coaches as we honor America and all of the brave men and women serving our country with the playing of our national anthem. Presenting the colors in center court this evening are members of the Binghamton University Get Line and Baxter. And as perform our national anthem, the BU Combat, the Scream of Green.
Let's do it,
okay, buddy.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's meet tonight's starting lineups. First one visiting Catamounts of the University of Vermont. At guard, a 6'2" senior from Toronto, Ontario, number 2, Payton. At guard, a 6'3" redshirt junior from Evansville, Indiana, number 20, At guard, a 6'6" redshirt sophomore from Evansville, Indiana, number 21, forward, a 6'8" senior from Vancouver, British Columbia, number 25.
What do you get, like an echo from, like a high-pitched echo, or just hearing it twice?
Salone Springs, Arkansas, number 35, Henson. For the Catamounts, the assistant coaches are Ryan Schneider and Tibbs. The associate head coach is Kyle Sawicki, and the head coach of the University of Vermont Catamounts is John Becker.
With a big crowd filling the building on Whiteout night, the Bearcats look to do something that an American East team hasn't done in nearly 2 years, hand the Catamounts a regular season loss. The Bearcat students are ready to go as they fill this building, hoping that the Bearcats can snap this Vermont Catamounts winning streak. I'm Tim Hyman. I'm joined by Doug Walsh as Binghamton hosts Vermont. Doug, the defending champs, are in the building. They've won 10 straight overall, 7 in a row to start conference play. And oh yeah, they've put off 28 consecutive conference wins in the regular season.
Yeah, both teams come in with some streaks. Vermont's streak is a little bit better than BU's. BU has lost 4 straight. Vermont starts a 3-game road trip today, and BU has to play well to get out of that. They're fighting for that 7th and 8th spot in the playoffs.
Anthony Lamb is out for at least 8 weeks. The Catamounts, though, have not skipped a beat. Trey Bell-Haynes still steers this ship.
Yeah, Trey Bell-Haynes, player of the year last year, good on-ball defender. He drives it well and he finishes. 3 years ago, he was the rookie of the year in the conference, and he does a real good job of getting to the basket and drawing contact and getting to the foul line. On the other side of the coin, Everson Davis, a similar player, drives it hard every time, which sets up He's got a good mid-range pull-up jumper, and the drive sets that up. Any scoring they get from him will be a plus.
Doug, the Bearcats are coming off of a disheartening loss against New Hampshire, while the Catamounts have had a full week to get prepared for this game. What are our keys tonight?
Well, if you're Vermont, you don't want to change much. You want to stay the course. No need to change anything. Stay efficient in the half-court offense. Share the basketball. Take good shots. Opponents have been shooting percentages down, largely due to the crowding of the shooters out high. And if you're BU, you need to get easier attempts. The team that gets the most easy shots will usually win the game. Easy shots will come from fast breaks, offensive rebounds, and getting to the foul line. And they got to pressure the shooters. Opponents' shooting percentage is up since the conference started. They need to make shots more difficult for Vermont.
We take a look at tonight's starters. They are presented by AdPro Sports. AdPro will outfit your organization with custom team uniforms, corporate apparel, and promotional products. Vermont enters 17-5, a best 7-0 in conference play. And you get a peek at not only Trey Bell Haynes, but the Duncan brothers. Ernie, the junior, Everett, the redshirt sophomore. Now that is your starting five for Vermont. As for the Bearcats, Binghamton will counter with a familiar showing. Chow, Rodriguez, Bruce, the big three of sorts, with Tyler Stewart and Everson Davis rounding out that starting five.
Tyler Stewart getting more playing time of late, trying to get some more offensive punch for the Bearcats.
Are you ready for some basketball?
Thomas Bruce sporting white on whiteout night. Student section nearly filled to the brim. Catamounts sport their gold on the road, and we are underway from Vestal, New York. Tim Hyman, Doug Walsh here on ESPN3. The Bearcats open with possession, bidding to snap a 4-game skid. That's Tyler Stewart, and he's got the Bearcats on the board.
You see they want to get Stewart early, get him going in the offensive end, get some confidence for him.
Stewart poured in 14 against New Hampshire in a losing effort. Binghamton fell 69-57 underneath, and the layup won't fall, and it's spat out. Recovered by Thomas Bruce. And here comes Everson Davis. Back for Bruce. Bruce travels. First turnover belongs to the Bearcats.
You know, getting back to Tyler Stewart, too, he helped Binghamton come back in the second half of that UMBC game. He had 11 in the second half of his 13.
Underneath for Trey Bell Haynes, and he hands it off for Drew Urquhart.
Bell Haynes takes it into the gap all the time pretty well. Got Thomas Bruce in the air and the nifty little pass.
Urquhart makes his 11th consecutive start tonight. A Vermont team making do without Anthony Lamb, the reigning Rookie of the Year. Injured himself, fractured his foot in late December, and has not played a minute in conference play. And, well, they won't come back for a long time.
They're hoping he can get back for the playoffs, but they're not certain of that.
Urquhart gets the bounce.
Vermont basket number 25, Drew Urquhart.
So Urquhart has the first 2 buckets for the Catamounts, who this season have gone 7-4 on the road. This opens up a stretch of 3 straight games on the road for Vermont as they visit Binghamton. This is the first meeting of the season between these two teams, Doug, and it comes past the midway point.
Coach Becker likes Urquhart. He's playing more, gaining more confidence.
Here's Henson. Payton Henson turns it over. A rare turnover by the Catamounts, and here comes Everson Davis. It will be Vermont ball. Doug, there won't be many of those turnovers if Vermont plays to script. They've averaged fewer than 11 per game.
Yeah, they take care of the basketball better than anybody in the conference. They don't beat themselves. And you see Binghamton's going to try to push the tempo and try to trap and maybe force Vermont out of their game a little bit.
One thing Tommy Dempsey, head coach of the Bearcats, talked about, we just need to play with a little bit more of an up-tempo pace. How's Henson for 2?
Yeah, as we said in the opening, you need to get some easy baskets, especially against this team. They're so well coached and well disciplined.
Best field goal percentage in the conference, best 3-point percentage in the conference. They've averaged the most points in conference play, and they've also averaged the best defense points allowed in the conference. No good from Shao. Rebound Vermont. And there goes Trey Bell-Haynes off to the races using his speed. Bell-Haynes perturbed by Tyler Stewart. 6 straight coming from the Catamounts. To the corner for Payton Henson. One-on-one against Thomas Bruce. Got the contact he wanted and gets the rebound, but can't finish either shot.
Yeah, you know, this Vermont team, you wouldn't say they do anything spectacular, but they do all things very well.
Looks like Willie Rodriguez will pick up an offensive foul there. Not a bad first 6 years for John Becker. 20 wins or more in each of his first 6 seasons as he enters season 7 looking to defend their title.
And he's come up through the ranks. He coached at high school and was an assistant, was a director of basketball operations, and then got the job here.
He watches Henson fall short again. Tough sledding for Henson to start the game. 1 for his first 5. Everson Davis posts up against Bell-Haynes, and that won't fall. Rebound reeled in by Henson. Underneath, an easy look for Urquhart. He's got 6.
Well, you see why Bell-Haynes is so good. That pass was on its way before Urquhart knew it was on its way. Trey Bell-Haynes sees the floor better than anybody else in this conference.
When you look at what he's done, more than 14 points per game, and in the midst of that, still averages more than 4 assists per game. Tyler Stewart throws one down with a little bit of motion afterwards.
And you know, Bell-Haynes rebounds well for being usually the smallest guy on the floor as well, Tim.
Yeah, 6'2" guard is still pull down more than 4 rebounds per game. For Catamounts team with a positive rebound margin this season. Catch and release for Ernie Duncan. That's good.
Yeah, you have to know where he is on the floor at all times. Chow a little bit late getting out there.
15:34 left in this first half. The Catamounts have already put up 11. They lead by 6.
Hey fans, it's upgrade time. Turn your attention down to the northeast corner of the court, where Baxter and members of the new dance team are welcome.
So, how do you define a good life?
I don't think you can overstate how big of an advantage it is to be playing a championship game in front of your home crowd.
Standing room only, and just at the end, like having everybody rush the court is like a surreal feeling.
Obviously that shot, you know, has been a big part of this program's history, and they did a lot of winning here, and that's why I came here. We had that opportunity, just got to take it.
Just to go out as a winner.
Cut down the nets at home. Win at home, win it all.
Our house rules.
Our house rules.
Our house rules.
It's all about setting up high percentage shots.
Yeah, they always take good shots. They share the ball. They make the extra pass. They flash to the open area. It's a good offensive, an efficient offensive team.
Catamounts have shot 49% from the floor overall this season. It's basically what they've done in conference play. And it has been the task of Tommy Dempsey to try to charter a new pace for the Bearcats in the second half of the season.
Yeah, you know, too, Vermont already shooting over 55% to 5 for 9 from the field.
Doug, heading into this game, you chatted with Tommy Dempsey. Did not sound like the tone of a coach going up against the defending conference champions. Well, a lot of confidence in his team heading into this matchup.
The theory is that they're not that far off. I know they're losing games and they're losing some close ones, and they're at the bottom of the division or the conference, but they're not that far off, he doesn't feel.
That's Bruce, and he travels. Another travel from close range for Binghamton. Getting deep, but failing to pull the trigger. Yeah, Doug, talked to Tommy about this. He really liked the individual matchup setting into this game.
Well, you know, you look at Lamb is out. They lost Dre Wills, the defensive player of the year. They lost the sixth man of the year last year, and they lost Stidel. So it doesn't seem as though they're as talented as they were last year. I know they're as successful as they were last year, but the matchup, he likes the individual matchups man on man.
As for John Becker, head coach of the Catamounts, he said, look, this season has just been a next man up mentality for this team. They lost Skylar Nash, who they thought would contribute early. Of course, they lost Lamb, their biggest injury of the season, but they've shown off their depth up.
Yeah, they are so talented, 1 through 12 or 13, or however many guys are on that bench. You know, the thing about them, Tim, is there's a lot of good freshmen. He likes his group coming up, and they have to wait their turn. They have some, and what that does is when you have good players in practice, that pushes your starters to play a little bit better. And I think that's what happens at Vermont. They're so talented 1 through 13 that that makes them better day in and day out.
Thomas Bruce on the free throw line for the first time tonight. A 55% free throw shooter. He was put there by Traybell Haynes, who picks up his first foul. Bruce is coming off of a 9-point effort against New Hampshire. That was on Saturday. Misspoke earlier. That was a 57-52 final. A game that Tommy Dempsey was still shaking his head over. Willie Rodriguez picks up an ill-advised foul. That's going to be his second.
Yeah, a lot of moaning and groaning on that one, but you got to call it, I guess, if he bumped him a little bit.
So an offensive foul, and then another foul, basically underneath the hoop by Rodriguez. One of the key pieces for Binghamton. It's Bruce, Shaw, and Rodriguez. That leads this crew. Binghamton can ill afford to have Rodriguez in foul trouble this early.
Well, you see, it looks like Bobby Ahern at the table to come in for Rodriguez with the 2.
They go to Ernie Duncan. Lost the ball, and it's Binghamton basketball. So Willie Rodriguez will take a seat. How much will that change this game plan, Doug, now that Rodriguez probably has to spend some time on that bench?
Yeah, Tommy Dempsey's giving Kevin Ferguson an earful on that, too. He's saying my best guy, one of my best guys is out of the game now, and a little, you might call it ticky-tack foul, but yeah, it's good. You're going to have to use Bruce more. Now you're going to have to use Ahern more, and maybe the perimeter guys have to shoot a little bit more.
That's Albert Odero inside the Thomas Bruce. Odero guarded by Shungu. Tyler Stewart with 4 to shoot. Gets the contact and gets 3 free throws out of it. Willie Rodriguez cheers on from the bench.
Coach Becker giving the referee a disgusted look. Good job by Tyler Stewart, though. He got his defender in the air. Cam Ward left his feet, leaned in a little bit, drew the contact.
The Bearcats have seen a lot from Stewart lately. 27 points in his last 2 games. Thanks in part to a near 50% clip from the floor in that span.
Yeah, he's a good driver of the basketball and finishes well at the rim.
He showed off that touch to the tune of 14 points against New Hampshire. But the Catamounts, rather, the Wildcats ended that game on a 16-4 run, which sealed Binghamton's fate. They were handed their 4th consecutive defeat.
Good trip that time by Binghamton, grabbing 3 foul shots by Stewart.
And they pull within 2. And Duncan cannot track this ball down.
You see, you like the full court pressure, and with Bell Haynes on the bench, other guys have to handle the ball. You see the turnover there. I don't know how long Coach Becker will go with Bell Haynes on the bench.
So Bell Haynes takes a seat. And the Bearcats have a chance to knot this game up. They go to Tyler Stewart again versus Shungu. Catamounts ball. Good pressure from Shungu to force the turnover.
Yeah, you see the stumble a little bit. He fumbled the ball on his drive to the basket, on his backing him down to the defender. Lost the handle. It went out of bounds on him.
Shungu, a local product out of Burlington, Vermont. He's played in 7 of his last 8 games and a timeout forced by Binghamton. So the Catamounts burn one, and it comes with just over 6.5 gone by in this first half. The Catamounts lead by 2. Take a look at what's going on around the conference tonight, Doug. Great matchup in Durham. Hartford and UNH currently tied with 5-3 records in 3rd place. That'll settle quite a bit at the midway point.
Yeah, you can't afford to lose a spot in the standings. Both of them at 5-3. You see UMBC, tough place to play at Stony Brook. You got Binghamton and Vermont here, and a kind of a game that it's not a must-win for those guys down UMass Lowell at Maine, but that'll get you into the 7th slot and a two-game cushion over. It's say if Binghamton should falter, a 2-game cushion on that last playoff spot. So that's kind of a big game for those guys, even though they only have 2 wins each.
Riverhawks and Black Bears with identical 2-6 records. Maine has dropped 5 of their last 6. Keep our eyes on that game. Catamounts do get the ball in this time. Henson pressured, looks for Bell Haynes. See what the Catamounts can do. Free space for Shungu. 8 to shoot. Cam Ward back up top to Henson. He'll pull up and hit.
Henson's good jump shooter for a big fella. And he plays, he'll pull the defender away from the basket. He pulled Thomas Bruce out high that time, and he can knock those jumpers down.
Odero drives, and we'll get a player control foul. So another offensive foul against Binghamton.
Well, you know, when you drive it like Binghamton is doing, you're going to pick up some charges. But you like that aggressiveness, and that's what Binghamton wants to do. They want to be aggressive and shoot quicker in the shot clock to get the pace up.
All 3 fouls taken by Binghamton today have been in the same area, Vermont's lane. They trail by 4. And that's Trey Bell Haynes. Draws 2 to the corner. Smith the 3. Rebound, Petty, but he lost the handle. Now this will be Vermont ball. That was Rob Petty, the freshman from Indianapolis, who was supposed to redshirt this season, but because of the injuries was thrust into an active role. He wears number 15, hangs out near the right block. Henson goes inside to Bell Haynes. Bell Haynes drives. Draws 3. There's Henson. Too much on the 3 ball. Another offensive rebound.
We have long shots, lead long rebounds.
Catamounts finding the seams. Smith, Everett Duncan a 3. Got it.
He likes that spot and the corner. He spots up well too. Gets his feet set, always ready to shoot.
Just simply not a team the Bearcats can afford to give up 3 chances to in 1 possession. The lead 7 for Vermont. Chow, left hand, good.
Wow. Good defense by Bell Haynes, just better offense by J.C. Chow.
Chow played 33 minutes for number 33 on Saturday. In a game that we thought his workload might be shaved, it really wasn't. Bell Haynes against Odero. Everett Duncan, another look. Too much on this one. Odero on the rebound.
Yeah, good defense by Odero there, shutting down the drive by Bell Haynes. Forced him to kick it back out.
And Steph Smith all over Odero. And that will be his first foul. Has had 22 points his last 2 games. He's got his first 3 points tonight.
Well, you know, see Vermont, they've already taken 6 threes this game, but that's kind of by design because BU is forcing them to shoot those threes. Last year they scored 30 points in the paint here, but you see why Vermont is so good. They'll take what you give them and they'll make you pay.
John Becker was looking back towards his team last season when we spoke with him earlier this week. He said the most striking thing about last year's championship team, a team that went 16-0 in the regular season and won a title, was their amazing consistency. They'd get a scouting report, they'd find out, they'd work out the details, they'd make their adjustments, and execute to the tune of a perfect record against America East competition.
Yeah, sometimes simpler is better. You just keep it simple and you execute, you'll do fine.
Well, they've executed to the tune of a 5-point lead. Chow passes to the stanchion, and the Bearcats commit their 7th turnover.
Yeah, good defense by Vermont. They force you to do things that you do not want to do.
Bell Haynes again with speed, and he'll go coast to coast and draw the foul.
As we said in the opening, the first thing you want to do is stop that ball way out on top. And Bobby Ahern thought he hit him hard enough to make him miss the shot, but Haynes is so good.
Doug, I remember speaking with John Becker last season leading up to that Binghamton-Vermont matchup, and he was raving about Bell Haynes' speed and how much that's helped their transition game. And nowhere was it clear with that.
Yeah, you saw that. He started in last place and he ended up in first place on that sprint all the way to 94 feet.
Anchor leg of the 4x4 right there.
Yeah, he had the baton. He was the finisher.
Bobby Ahern against another 15, and this will be another Bearcat turnover. Binghamton out of sorts against this Catamount defense.
Now, you got to give credit to Petty. He had pushed Bobby Ahern way away from the basket, 10, 12, 15 feet away. He started in the post, and he legged him out real far from the basket, took his drive away from him.
Doug, we've seen that so often, where it just depends on where a post player catches that ball that can make all the difference.
Like, post players, you feel comfortable if you're maybe 6, 7 feet away from the basket. Any further out, it makes them uncomfortable.
Vermont very comfortable here with a 7-point lead. And Everson Davis comes out with it. He was a spark plug on Saturday. Didn't really score that many points, but certainly did a lot to generate offense.
He gets his hands on balls, he rebounds, he forced turnovers. Great floor game, stuff that doesn't show up in the box score.
Davis?
Yeah, and he usually guards the best player.
Can't find the twine this time. Rebound Petty. And Vermont's back the other way. Henson can't finish. And Muhammad's there. Binghamton rushes into Vermont territory. Rebound Davis, and has got the putback.
Binghamton likes this pace, although it seems though Vermont, although they don't like this pace, they're comfortable playing any pace you want.
And that's backcourt. Bell Haynes had not established himself in the front court. And the Catamounts, Doug, we get a look at Muhammad setting up Everson Davis. Catamounts take just 52 shots per game. It seems so low just because they hit 50% of it.
Now, in the half-court offense, they're patient. They get, usually the clock gets down into single digits. They share the ball. They pass extra, get the guy a wide open look. Some people may have an open look. Somebody may have a better look. The shot clock usually gets under into single digits when they have the ball on the offensive end.
Tyler Stewart gets it in. Binghamton has gone 6-4 at home this season. They're looking to end an overall 4-game skid versus Vermont. Rose goes above Petty, rebounded by Ernie Duncan. Now there's Trey Bell Haynes, currently parked off the score sheet. Part of it, he has 2, can't hit this time. Up top to Duncan. And Ernie Duncan adds 2 more.
Boy, he was patient. He saw Muhammad coming at him. Pump fake, got Muhammad to go up in the air and go by him.
Muhammad gets Bell Haynes to go past him and drills it.
Anything you can do, I can do better.
First one for Muhammad, a 40% three-point shooter. Catamounts break the pressure. To the high post for Henson. Petty wants it. He gets it and draws the foul from Stewart.
Petty in good post position on Stewart. Stewart had no recourse but to grab and hold, save a basket.
And Doug, you can see it from here. The wingspan on Petty, 6'9". It probably has an even larger wingspan than just that.
Yeah, and he had Tyler Stewart pushed up the lane playing defense, and he had his hand out and easy lob into him.
Just a 4-point game, though. That's Cam Ward. Up top to Everett Duncan. Again, the high post, this time Urquhart. Off of Bearcat.
Stewart poked it away from Rohr down low.
There is timeout on the floor. Media.
And even 8 minutes to play in the first. Binghamton trails by 4 against the defending champions.
All 6 residential communities on campus here for tonight's Code Res Challenge. Welcome to tonight's game.
Respect is hard work. Respect is hard work. Respect is dedication.
Respect is earned on the court or on the field.
Respect doesn't judge based on sexual orientation or gender identity.
Respect is being the first conference to partner with the You Can Play project.
And the first conference in the LGBT Sports Safe Founders Club.
Respect coaches, players, and the game.
Respect similarities.
Respect differences.
Spread respect.
Spread respect.
Spread respect.
There's a source of wonder inside us all. And it's why we're always looking for new ways to make things better. Because at BAE Systems, our work is inspired by the wonder inside that's always been with us, propelling us, guiding us, and leading us to a place where we're part of something bigger, where we can look inside, glimpse the future, and protect what's truly important.
I don't think you can overstate how big of an advantage it is to be playing a championship game in front of your home crowd.
Standing room only, and just at the end, like having everybody rush the court, it's like a surreal feeling.
Obviously, that shot, has been a big part of this program's history, and they did a lot of winning here, and that's why I came here. We had that opportunity, just got to take it.
Just to go out as a winner.
Cut down the nets at home. Win at home, win it all.
Our house rules.
Our house rules.
Our house rules.
At this very moment across America East, and if you've been watching this game at all, you know full well that the Catamounts sit on top.
Respect
a 7-0 record.
Yeah, Vermont 7-0, and UMBC is at Stony Brook tonight. So, UMBC has to try to keep pace for that second slot. And you see Hartford playing New Hampshire. The winner's going to go to 6-3, so no easy ones in this conference.
All coming at the midway point of the season. Here, coming at the 8-minute mark of the first half, Binghamton within 4. Davis for Muhammad, a heat check. Hello, Muhammad.
That was deep.
Binghamton trailed by 7, now within 1. Doug, that was just their 13th shot of the game. Vermont has already taken 20.
Well, if Muhammad can get going, that could spell trouble for Vermont, because he's streaky. He can put 4, 5, 6 up a game.
And lately, Doug, the bad type of streaky. Last 4 games, he shot just 25% from the floor and only 5 of 19 from deep.
Well, in his defense, Tim, he's been coming in late in the game when they were down a few of those games, and he had to jack some up that he normally wouldn't throw up. But yes, his percentage is down a little bit.
Tonight, up 2 for 3. The foul was on Rose, his first. Urquhart wants the ball down low. Instead, they go up to Ward. Up top to Henson, a three. Way off. Did it get rim? It didn't.
We credit Muhammad for running at Henson. Henson felt him coming. Caused the miss.
It's the second time that the Bearcats have basically forced Vermont to take a shot to beat the shot clock. And now the Bearcats have a chance to grab their first lead since the opening minute.
You see Bill Haynes back on the floor, and he immediately walked onto the floor, and he moved 3 guys around to play different guys on defense. He's like a coach on the floor.
Let's talk about senior leadership. Bill Haynes, one of 6 seniors on the roster. Turnover collected by Henson.
Great post defense. Hand in the passing lane for the steal.
Henson given space. A drive and kick to Duncan. That's Ernie Duncan, a 3. Thomas Bruce hauls in the rebound. Team's leading rebounder with more than 8 per game. And he'll set up Everson Davis. To Bruce. Denied! Oh, Urquhart came back to reject him. Here comes Bill Haynes, and a foul against the Bearcats.
Well, you know, it may sound a little funny to say this, Tim, with Vermont leading by a point, but you see the block. Bruce was going to go throw it down, but great defensive play by Urquhart. This pace and this style of play favors Binghamton. Vermont's doing some things tonight that they normally don't do. They're shooting more jumpers. They're not getting the ball inside. I know they're winning this game, but it's not the style they like to play, Vermont.
1-1 territory for Trey Bell Haynes, and he hits. How do the Catamounts get it back to their style?
Well, I don't know the answer to that, but I think the answer to that is they don't care what style they're playing. They feel comfortable no matter what style you force them to play.
Bell Haynes goes 2 of 2 after the foul by Everson Davis. Back to a 3-point lead for the Catamounts, who just enjoyed home cooking with an 11-point win over Albany last Wednesday. And had a week to recuperate and get set for this matchup, their first against Binghamton. An even one to this point. Tyler Stewart fires. Rebound to Everett Duncan. And he finds his brother Ernie.
They put Everett Duncan on Muhammad. He's a little bit taller to try to force those 3s out a little higher for Muhammad.
Here comes another E. Everson Davis. He's stripped. Ernie Duncan comes out with it. Ernie's older. He was at Vermont when Everett broke his all-time scoring record in his high school out of Evansville, Indiana.
Now, from what I understand, and this isn't official, there's another one on the way to Vermont. There's a 3rd guy coming. The Duncans are going to have to get a home in Vermont. Wouldn't that be something? 3 brothers playing. I don't know if that's ever been done.
Would confuse the heck out of people in my position. Trey Bell Haynes picks up his 2nd bucket of the night. He has a half dozen. 4 straight coming from Vermont. They lead by 5. J.C. Shao fires and knocks it down.
You know, Tim, talking to Coach Tommy Dempsey earlier in the game, before the game started, Binghamton has nothing to lose. They can play loose as goose. You know, they're supposed to get beat by the #1 team in the conference.
Tyler Stewart tries to reject Urquhart, who lays it in and picks up the foul.
Yeah, better off letting him finish that, living to fight another day rather than foul him.
But Doug, back to your point, certainly a different set of expectations coming into this game. Matching up a team that's rattled off 28 straight regular season conference wins, defending champions, haven't lost by more, or haven't been within single digits of any conference opponent this season. Yeah, Tommy Dempsey said that breeds almost a lighter attitude for Binghamton coming into this game.
Yeah, you know, you're almost supposed to lay down for them. You know, in that regard, I think there might be some pressure on Vermont just to keep that streak alive. Although it's not real pressure because you still got a game or two lead. But, you know, every time you step on the floor and you're undefeated and you have that 0 next to it, you don't want that night to happen that you're going to lose the game, you know. So there is a little bit of pressure on Vermont.
If the numbers would be in any indication, them being on the road, adds a little bit of a disadvantage. They are unbeatable at Patrick Gymnasium, literally 7-0 this season.
Yeah, 20 straight there as well. So if you're the 8th seed and you have to go there, that's a long road trip.
Odero the bump. Free throws await Ernie Duncan after this. Vermont clings to a 5-point lead. They'll look to add to it with Duncan at the free throw line. That would be the Vermont Catamounts. They own a 5-point lead. And if we look back to their 2016-2017 season, one to remember. 29 wins, 16 wins in conference play, their second title in the last 6 years, and a trip to the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, they got a bad draw there with Purdue. Purdue was a better team than their seed indicated, and I think anybody else, they may have been able to upset them in the first round, but they're looking to get back there again.
The expectations are high for this Vermont team, who had a tough time putting together that non-conference schedule. Nearly included an upset win over Kentucky. They fell just a few possessions short.
And that was a one-possession game till the last possession of the game. And by many people's account, the best player on the floor in that game was Traybell Haynes.
Here, Ernie Duncan, a 6'3" redshirt junior from Indiana, will shoot a couple of free throws for the Catamounts. Duncan has been an 86% free throw shooter this season. Career 84% shooter. And if you talk about free throw shooting and who has the advantage, it belongs to the Catamounts. Third best mark in the conference.
Yeah, Duncan was a third teamer in the conference last year, and he may be their best defender on Vermont.
Yeah, John Becker called him their go-to defender. And what he's done to improve his defensive game. Tyler Stewart having a tough time finding the magic he had on Saturday against New Hampshire. Odero under pressure, gets the foul.
You see why the Binghamton staff likes Odero. He knew the shot clock was running down. He knew he had to get one off. And he strong drive, and he draws the contact.
Well, Doug, Tommy Dempsey said pregame, we will likely see more of Odero. Not just tonight, but going forward. He was rehashing Odero's numbers, and in limited time, he rattled off some pretty impressive numbers that he's put up since being activated.
Well, the thing about new guys is you have to let them grow. You have to let them work things out, and the only way you do it is by giving them some minutes.
Odero misses both, and Binghamton is hoping their free throw woes are behind them, but it appears they have remained with this team. A team that missed 9, including several in crunch time against New Hampshire.
And when you're in those close games, you've got to make fouls.
Urquhart stays with the contact and hits.
A few of those games, the difference is the team that came out on top made their fouls down the stretch, and Binghamton missed them.
6 straight coming from Vermont. Part of a 10-3 run. Chow guarded by Ernie Duncan. The floater. And a foul on the rebound.
Yeah, they're going to get Payton Henson with the clear out.
Even Henson hasn't been immune to the injury bug this season. Sat out 1 game in December against Quinnipiac because of a hip injury. But John Becker said that he is, if not 100%, darn near close to it. The guy who's chipped in so many ways for Vermont as Albert Odero takes a seat on the Bearcat bench.
And the thing about him is he's gotten better with his shooting and his jumper. Now you have to respect that. He's a good post player. Now you got to respect him stepping out and shooting jumpers. So that makes him that much more effective.
Bruce had a good look. Didn't get the ball though. Binghamton turns it over. Ernie Duncan.
That's 3 or 4 times the ball has slipped out of people's hands on Binghamton. It happened to Odero. It happened to Stewart. It happened to Shaw now.
Prompting a dozen Bearcat turnovers. A team that averages a dozen per game. Ernie Duncan stuffed by Shaw. Wrestling in the lane. Catamounts keep it. Bell Haynes got it off in time. Thomas Bruce corrals the rebound. Tommy Dempsey wants a timeout. So an 8-point Vermont lead after they had that lead shaved down to 1. Starting to find their rhythm, Doug.
Yeah, Vermont just keeps coming at you, They're patient, they're efficient, they share the ball. They don't get rattled when you close the gap or tie it up. And they go on these many 8-2 runs, 6-0 runs, and they get 4 or 5 of them a game, and all of a sudden you look up and you're down 15.
Doug, how does Binghamton stop runs like that?
Now, they're turning the ball over, as you said. 12 is too many already in a half, and with still a minute 48 to go in a half. They've got to stop turning the ball over. You can't give a team like Vermont extra possessions, and they're doing that. But they've got to stay with what they plan, drive it to the basket. They're playing pretty well on defense. They're taking Vermont out of their game a little bit. They're just putting them on a foul line a few too many times as well.
Doug, there's been one stat that's jumped out to me recently, and it's carried over into this game. The shots and the number of them taken by Thomas Bruce. He's had just 7 his last 2 games. He only has 1 tonight. How did they get him more involved?
Well, and you said it a couple games ago, Albany's game plan was to push him off the block and get him out higher. And people, they look at film and they see that. Everybody's starting to push him farther away from the basket. He doesn't feel comfortable receiving the ball out there.
Talk about catching it far out of the basket. He works around on the perimeter before saddling up into the lane. That's Bobby Ahern. Space against Henson. Rebound Vermont. Bell Haynes comes out with it. And just like that, creates a chance. Can't hit, and Bobby Ahern corrals the rebound. Rose for Bruce. Bruce will shoot free throws.
Yeah, too, and getting back to Bruce, he may have gotten away with the travel there. Coach Becker's looking for the call. But too, Tim, getting back to the Thomas Bruce thing, in the preseason, you're not as familiar with your opponent as you are in the league, and in the league, these guys are more familiar with Thomas Bruce.
We've seen that a couple of times.
So they know how to defend him better.
Bruce hits his first free throw. There's got to be some sort of catchphrase for that, or term for that. The ability to have an advantage in non-conference play when teams don't know you that well, but then seeing some players have a tougher time when their opponent knows them pretty well.
I'm going to use the word familiarity.
John Becker wants a timeout. Or does he?
I think he got a technical. Oh, no, I guess they get a warning. They're just giving him a warning.
Maybe a coach's box warning?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe a little too much, but yeah, I don't know what it was.
Kevin O'Connell trying to settle Becker down on the far side of the floor. Thomas Bruce gets a foot on him.
Well, once you give a formal warning and you put it in the book, you better be on your best behavior, because any slight indication of something, they're going to tee you up.
Yeah, well, one of the changes this year, as Urquhart taps it home, was the extension of that coach's box. Really an effort to get coaches from actually physically being on the floor.
Yeah, they were coming out a little too high, coming out a little too close to half court, and they were getting onto the floor a little bit too much, so they reined them in.
Here a 9-point lead. Rebound, Everett Duncan. Out of bounds. Can push this to double figures for the first time today. Less than a second separates the shot clock and the game clock.
See, they're going to run the clock down as far as and they already know what play they're going to run right now. It might be a high screener roll with the big fellas and Bell Haynes.
There is Bell Haynes into Urquhart against Bruce. Rebound, Bruce. He got clipped. The officials halt play. We'll see if they put any more time on the clock. Looks like Bruce got clipped right around the nose.
Well, if they called the foul there, he would have went to the foul line, because that would have been the 7th.
No chance for a catch and release. This will just be an inbound half, and that puts a bow on it. So the Catamounts end the half on an 8-0 run. They have a 9-point lead.
It's time to get back to an active lifestyle, and UHS is making it easier than ever. The new UHS Orthopedic Center is the area's leader in orthopedic care. Our new state-of-the-art facility offers the best treatment for orthopedic, podiatry, chiropractic, rheumatology, physical therapy, and much more. Plus, a comprehensive sports medicine and concussion program like no other in our area. The new UHS Orthopedic Center, an experience like no other. Visit us today on the Vestal Parkway.
At Simmons Rockwell, your pre-owned vehicle superstores, you'll find these previous rentals. 2017 all-wheel drive Nissan Rogue SV models with climate control, heated power seat, remote start, rear view monitor, 17-inch alloys, and 11,000 to 16,000 miles for just $19,099. See more savings online at Simmons-Rockwell.com and shop the Simmons Rockwell location near you.
The America East Women's Basketball Championship in Portland. Coming back to Maine, especially Portland, being so close to family, was an amazing feeling. The atmosphere was phenomenal. Maine has a great support system, especially towards basketball. Portland is a great area. I'm not far from it. There's such great scenery. I love visiting there.
Visit Portland for the 2018 America East Women's Basketball Tournament, March 3rd and 4th at the Cross Insurance Arena. Tickets are on sale now.
Hey, Portland, we'll see you in March.
This is a place where bright minds meet, where innovative education and groundbreaking research thrive. A world-class institution with renowned faculty and endless opportunity. This is Binghamton University, the premier public university in the Northeast.
Food for thought.
It's more than a common phrase.
It's the intellectual nourishment that surrounds us at the University of Vermont.
those ideas,
that atmosphere, those classes that get us up in the morning
and keep us up at night. Food for Thought connects us to other hungry thinkers who will change your world. Like this one.
Or even this one.
All the food for thought in the world is on the menu at the University of Vermont.
Let's dig in.
Binghamton's kick line entertains the fans here that have made their way to the event center for the Whiteouts. And right now it's the Catamounts who have gotten the job done on the floor. They lead the Bearcats by 9. We welcome you back courtside. I'm Tim Hyman. He is the one and only Doug Walsh. Doug, at one point, it was a 1-point game, but then the Catamounts truly kicked it into gear.
Yeah, they just methodically wear you down. You know, they forced a couple of turnovers, some ill-advised possessions for Binghamton. They're patient. They stay under control. They make the extra pass. And all of a sudden, you look up, they go on an 8-2 run, and they're up 9.
Yeah, you can make a lot of press and a lot of attention for Trey Bell. Henson, yeah, he might steer the ship for this team, but you look at some of the other guys that have stepped up. Drew Urquhart, who John Becker has focused in on lately, well, he boarded 13 to lead the team.
You know, and he played great defense too. This team is so deep, they're so well balanced. You can't, and it's hard to defend them because you can't key on one guy. Obviously you want to key on Bell Haynes, but everybody else is so good and so efficient. You can't just key on one person. It's tough to defend against them.
Okay, but if you're a glass half full type of person for the Bearcats, you've watched Vermont take 13 more shots than you. You've watched the Bearcats turn the ball over 12 times, yet Binghamton is within single digits.
Well, the game plan is good for Binghamton. I do like it. They're just not executing it as well as they need to do it. There's not much room for error when you play Vermont, and 12 turnovers in the first half is a little too much.
So for the Bearcats, they look to hold on to the basketball. Catamounts have a 9-point lead. Floor here at the event center. Those student athletes making their way off the floor attained a GPA of 3.3 or better. And the fall semester just honored here in Vestal. Catamounts, defending America East champs, have a 32-23 lead over the Bearcats. And Doug, Vermont might not be matching their season average for field goal percentage, but to this point, it's been good enough.
Yeah, you know, you take what the opponent will give you and you run with it. Vermont is certainly good at that. Binghamton's taken them out of their game just a little bit, but the good teams can adjust and they can play any game that you want them to play.
We take a look at the highlights from the first half, and we begin with the Bearcats as Tyler Stewart picked up 8 points in the first.
Yeah, you see Everson Davis knew where he was the entire time, and Stewart spotted up and a nice energetic three. And then you see Duncan drives it down to the baseline, draws Willie Rodriguez to help, and Urquhart's there to knock down the corner J with a little help from the kind rim. And Rose pushes it ahead. Mohammed gathers, lets Bell Haynes go by him, and then he rattles a three home.
One of his two, Duggan. The Bearcats would love to see a little bit more from Mohammed in the deep three department.
Well, you see there's the second one there too, and if he can get going in the second half, they can get back into this game. But they're going to need some really solid offensive possessions, and you can't turn the ball over 12 times and expect to beat Vermont.
And here's a deeper look into those numbers, Doug. J.C. Shao, Thomas Bruce, and Willie Rodriguez combined for a total of 7 points.
Yeah, so if they're not scoring, you're going to need Stewart to step up a little bit, maybe some Everson Davis getting in there, and Mohammed's going to have to get hot, I would say. But you know, you're not going to hold those three guys down the entire game either.
Catamounts are looking for their 11th straight win. They lead 32-23.
Stop by the ticket office today. Show your Price Chopper Advantage Edge card.
Bearcats and Catamounts back on the floor, getting loosened for the second half as we take a look at the Foss Construction Group first half statistics. Doug, Catamounts, a team that shot 50% from the floor this season, shooting only 41%, but good for a 9-point lead.
Yeah, 13 baskets to 7. You see, that's the difference in the ball game. They're shooting more threes than they normally do, but that's because that's what's Binghamton's giving them. They don't like to shoot that many, but again, as I said before, they'll take whatever you give them and they'll go with it.
Notable for the Catamounts, their 6 offensive rebounds, way ahead of their season pace. Vermont 32, Binghamton 23. The second half next on ESPN3. We're underway from the event center. The Vermont Catamounts have a 32-23 lead over the Binghamton Bearcats. And Trey Bell Haynes drives but can't find the net. Rebound Thomas Bruce. Tim Hyman, Doug Walsh coming to you from Vestal, New York, where Binghamton looks to snap Vermont's 10-game winning streak. Bruce bangs in against Urquhart and can't hit. Bruce 0 for 2 from the floor. Run and gun offense from Vermont too. Ernie Duncan around Chow for the first points of the second half.
We see both teams coming out a little bit aggressive. I think they talked to each other at halftime and they said, look, let's go out and be aggressive and play strong these first 3 or 4 minutes, set the tone.
Catamounts took 32 shots in the first half. They averaged 52 in a game. How about the play by Davis?
And everything going toward the basket. Both teams' first 2 possessions going toward the basket.
It was a tough first half for Binghamton with 12 turnovers and a field goal percentage below 40. But Davis has them on the board in the second. Henson looked for Duncan. Connects with Trey Bell Haynes, averaging 14 points per game. Davis tasked with containing him. Bell Haynes fires and left it short. Binghamton ball.
Good defensive stop that time by Binghamton. Bell Haynes doesn't like to shoot the 3. He will shoot it, but he doesn't like to.
And the workload has increased for the senior. Since Lamb went out with injury, Bell Haynes has taken about 11 shots per game. Bruce draws 2. Last touch by Henson.
He's only shot 22 threes so far in the conference. I mean, he's made 8 of them, which is a good percentage, but he'd rather drive it.
Bell Haynes with more than 1,400 points in his illustrious career at Vermont. Looking to end it by adding another trophy to the trophy case. Shao on the floor around Duncan. Gets Urquhart to leap. Shao dives, keeps the possession alive, but then turns it over. And we get a jump ball that favors Binghamton.
A lot of hustle, a lot of guys on the floor. A lot of diving for loose balls.
There's Willie Rodriguez. We only saw him for 8 minutes in the first half.
Now they're going to have to get him off in the second half, get him some more offensive output. Don't worry about the fouls. Still got to be aggressive on both ends of the floor.
Rodriguez picked up 2 quickly in the first. He dices against Henson. Can't find the angle, but still hits. It's about as good defense you could play by Henson, and Rodriguez still hit it.
You see 5 out on the perimeter. Good spacing by Vermont.
The Duncan brothers on the far corner. Ernie controls. Everett waits in the corner. Bell Haynes recovers. 5 to shoot. Runner won't fall. Urquhart's put back. Left short, foul on the Bearcats.
Boy, another good defensive effort by Binghamton. Another late forced shot in the shot clock by Vermont. Unfortunate that the rebound, they couldn't corral the rebound.
Bell Haynes finds Henson. Tyler Stewart forces the turnover. Henson recovers.
Excellent defense by Stewart. Didn't expect it. The long arms, you didn't see it there, but he tipped it away. And good hustle by Henson to get back into play.
Henson finished strong last season, scoring 17 points against Albany in the championship game. En route to being named an All-America East third-teamer. Willie Rodriguez backs in against Henson. Rebound to Everett Duncan. The Catamount's have a 7-point lead. They are 12-0 this season when leading at halftime. Henson left open, rather Urquhart left open. Now he picks up his 14th and 15 points.
7 for 8 from the field for Urquhart, having a ball game.
He rolled into this game with 11 points per game his last 4 nights. And the lead back to 9 for the Catamounts.
He can score. He had 21 against Maine, 10 and 9 against UNH.
Fade away, off the mark from Davis. Rodriguez zips it into traffic. And the Bearcats will have just 1 second to work with.
Yeah, a lot of times they like to run this little lob to Thomas Bruce. Let's see the good defense. Ooh, oh, man, could have called a foul there. Do you think?
More concerned for Everson Davis taking that one straight to the forehead.
Yeah.
Shao, catch and release. Binghamton will get a new life out of this one. Nicely done by Willie Rodriguez. Davis fires and hits.
Got him fired up a little bit. Not known for his three-point shooting, but everybody's going to have to score if you're going to come back and win this one versus Vermont.
The Bearcats have gone just 3-10 this season when trailing at halftime. Into Urquhart with 15 already. 4 Bearcats surrounded. And here comes J.C. Shao. Stripped by Duncan. Outlet for Bell Haynes, interrupted by Davis. Rodriguez will fire and hit and adds the foul.
End-to-end action and exhilarating action. You see the pull up, and you must let him come down. That's a foul.
Rodriguez will shoot a free throw to make it a 2-point game. Almost a jam-packed student section on whiteout night, and Doug, they've had quite a bit to cheer about in the second half.
Well, Binghamton has cut it to 3. It possibly could be 2 if Willie Rodriguez can convert this. Rodriguez didn't get a shot off in the first half, didn't score, and in 4 minutes and 48 seconds, he's 2 for 3, and he's got 5 points in the second half.
Rodriguez is a 51% free throw shooter. This has been a thorn in Binghamton's side this season as a team. They've missed more than a third of their free throw shots. Second worst rate in the conference. Rodriguez has a chance to make this a 2-point game. He was fouled by Payton Henson. It was Henson's second foul of the game. This will be Vermont ball. The Bearcats are in the midst of a 10-2 run. They trailed by as many as 9 at points in this game, now within 3. And we'll see how the Catamounts respond.
The foul shooting struggles continue.
Already 5 misses for Binghamton. Duncan wants a timeout. More defensive pressure from the Bearcats.
And that's the second time in this ball game that the pressure has caused Vermont to call timeouts. In the tight games, you might need those later.
3-point game, just about 5 minutes gone by in the second. Binghamton breaks their huddle as we take a look at the road ahead. It will be a long one up to Maine. Bearcats on Saturday will look to avenge a loss to the Black Bears, which opened up their conference schedule.
Now you see they're going to try to avenge 4 losses in a row there. Maine beat them here, and UMBC beat Binghamton down there. We'll finish up with UMass Lowell there, and that 4-game set.
That'll be a milestone game in Maryland. The first home game for the Retrievers at their brand new event center. The building they just closed with the come-from-behind win. 3-point game, Catamounts ball.
Binghamton 2-3 zone this trip.
Bell Haynes, an open look. He got it. Perfectly timed 3 coming from Bell Haynes.
You see how they are. They take what you give them. They're patient. Work the clock down to single digits, and then they get a good one.
See if the Bearcats can get Thomas Bruce jump started. Davis's follow out of bounds. Bruce stays parked with 2 points, both from the free throw line.
Henson doing a real good job. Coach Becker says he's our best post defender. He has the task of trying to shut down Thomas Bruce. He's doing a real good job so far.
Rodriguez, Davis, pressure Bell Haynes. Henson will carry it from midcourt, denied by Bruce, but it was over the cylinder. That's Kevin O'Connell with the call. Goaltending on Thomas Bruce.
Yeah. That was close. That was close. Let's see. Well, maybe you guys out there watching can make the call. Is it on? Yeah, it's close.
Davis will shoot but miss. And this last touch is Rodriguez. I think O'Connell will switch his call though, saying it touched Henson last.
Yeah, he just pointed the wrong way.
Tommy Dempsey is trying to do something that no America East coach has done in the regular season since February 2016. Beat the Catamounts in the regular season. February 8th, 2 years ago, the Riverhawks did it. Since then, the Catamounts have won 28 straight in the regular season. Rodriguez hits the hook.
Yeah.
7 points in the second half, Doug.
That's saying something when you haven't lost a game in 2 years.
Ernie Duncan can't believe it, but this belongs to the Bearcats.
Rodriguez doing his part. He has to come off the bench after sitting with the foul trouble in the first half. He's certainly scoring in the second half. Again, though, you know, you look up, Binghamton's playing real well, and all of a sudden you look up, you're still down 6.
J.C. Shao, a long-range 3. Everett Duncan on the rebound. Catamounts and the Bearcats nearly even on the boards. 25 for Vermont, 24 for the Bearcats. Bell Haynes finds Duncan. Rebound, Petty. Can't get the roll. Vermont keeps it.
He's so active, energetic. Petty gets up off the floor quick. Got a great rebound there, and then he kept it alive. Great going sky for that rebound. And then he gets his hand on this one as well. Keeps that alive, almost tipped it in.
John Becker was talking about the selfless nature of his team, about how 2 freshmen could have sat out, saved the year of eligibility. But when needed, they've stepped up, and one of those freshmen is Petty. That's Bell Haynes, the senior. Off the mark this time. It stays with Vermont. The other was Bailey Patella. We have not seen Patella yet this evening. We'll talk about next man up mentality, and the freshmen have stepped up when needed.
Well, I think due to the injuries that kind of, I wouldn't say forced them into giving up their year of eligibility, but allowed them to play this year.
Duncan finds Urquhart. Bell Haynes, floater over Bruce. He's got it.
Unstoppable shot, the floater in the lane. Doesn't matter what size you are. You can drop the teardrop over anybody.
Tyler Stewart from Davis. He hits for 2. Buckets traded. And here comes Everett Duncan with one of his own.
Credit Bell Haynes, though, again, for seeing the floor, finding his teammate.
4 assists for Bell Haynes, which basically matches his average. Shao, long 2. That's knocked down.
That's one thing that Binghamton does on a regular basis. They run a little weave out on top. Shao loves to come off a handoff and pull up and shoot the jumper.
Team shooting nearly 50% apiece in the second half. Vermont 6 of 13, Binghamton 7 of 15. Bell Haynes dices through traffic, denied by Bruce. Ward pounces. Everett Duncan, an open look. He gets it.
Duncan loves the corner jumper. He can shoot it from the wing, but he loves the corner jumper, and that's the most difficult shot in the game, and he shoots it pretty well.
Second from deep for Duncan. Rodriguez rejected. Urquhart got a piece. And here comes Bell Haynes in transition. Ward given space. Catamounts ball. Just like that, the Catamounts matching their largest lead as Everett Duncan's 3 has given them a 9-point edge.
Tonight's Hampton and Suites fan of the game is Lynn Fedorchak. Lynn will be back to the
Flo, Tommy Dempsey, Tony Kornheiser, and those fans employ the Bearcats to post some defense, which has been a challenge for anyone that's taken on Vermont this season.
And you see Vermont, 48 points with 11 minutes to go. They usually get to 74 in the conference, and they hold their opponents to 59. They are just about right on schedule with those numbers right now.
You look across the board, Doug, stats-wise, eye-popping for the Catamounts. First in conference games and points per game, defensive points allowed, field goal percentage, and three-point percentage. But the Bearcats giving Vermont all they've got tonight. Neither team is led by more than 9. The Bearcats' largest edge, just 2. Now the Catamounts have a chance to change that pattern. Ernie Duncan back on the floor. Zips to Cam Ward. Help from Petty. Petty battling Ahern. Rodriguez picks up the block.
Some people in the stands were crying for a walk, but you couldn't see his feet there. Good defense by Binghamton, the block shot.
19th block this season for Rodriguez. Petty throws it down. A double-digit Vermont lead.
All set up by Belhane's drive. Beat his man off the dribble. Forced the help.
So Petty producing in just his 4th collegiate game. Shao. Poked free by Ernie Duncan. With nobody to beat, it's a 13-point Catamount advantage.
Going just like that. Vermont up 13.
Duncan into double figures. 14th time he's done that this season. Ahern follows the miss and draws a couple of free throw chances.
Petty with the continuous effort. Never gives up on a play. Keeps balls alive. He's active on defense. And you saw the throwdown from Belhanes on the last possession.
Ahern adds another miss. That's now 6 for Binghamton. Doug, here's the impressive thing. The Catamounts put that mini run together without Urquhart, who just returned, and another starter, Everett Duncan.
Depth and togetherness, efficiency.
Ahern has the answer after Vermont scored 7 straight. Midway point, second half. Urquhart. Against 3, Henson comes away with it.
Henson, I don't know how he got that ball, but there was 3 white shirts around it, and he came down with it. Then he finished with the same 3 shirts around him.
Doug, that's 14 offensive rebounds for the Catamounts, doubling their season average.
Yeah, not there. Again, you know, we talked about it before. They can beat you in so many different ways. On one night, it's offensive rebounding. On the next night, it's their defense. On another night, it's 3-point shooting. So you see the hard work there by Henson. And then again, among all the white shirts, and he lays it in.
It's the Catamounts' largest lead tonight, 14. Timmy Rose against Duncan. Urquhart redirects the shot. And here comes Belhanes. In transition, Duncan. Rebound, Stewart. Timmy Rose, blanked tonight, finds Willie Rodriguez. Hangs in the air for 2.
A strong move by Rodriguez. As you said, hung in the air as long as he could, let the defender go by.
No points in the first, 9 here in the second for Rodriguez. Henson adds 2 more of his own.
Big fellas play well together, high post, low post. They're good passers. They look for each other.
Rodriguez Hit one right from that spot moments ago, which energized the crowd, made it a 3-point game. It feels like ancient history. Now the Bearcats trail by 14. Ahern takes it to the rim. And will take it to the free throw line.
Yeah, they're going to get Urquhart. Beat him off the dribble. Bobby Ahern beat him off the dribble, and Urquhart's a little upset that he got beat off the dribble, so he fouled him.
Actually, they'll put it on Ernie Duncan's tab, so Urquhart remains with a clean record. And Ahern will go back to the free throw line. It's like there was an old saying from SportsCenter: you can't beat him, you can only hope to contain him. In this regard, how does the Bearcats even slow down the Catamounts, who are really starting to roll?
You know, it's kind of a blow to their confidence because they're playing well, they're doing what they want to do, they're trying to take Vermont out of some things that they normally do, and they're doing that. And they're doing a real good job at executing the game plan. And you look up, and you're still down 12. It's just a testimony to how good this Vermont team is.
Catamounts are bidding for their 18th overall win of the season. They have not lost since December 16th, and even then it was on a buzzer beater against St. Bonaventure. That one on the road at a neutral site in Rochester, the homecoming for Anthony Lamb. Urquhart with too much. Willie Rodriguez with just enough for his 3rd rebound. Tyler Stewart has the putback.
Again, though, set up by the good aggressive drive by Rodriguez.
That's 10 for Stewart, his 5th double-digit game this season. And how will the Catamounts respond? Bell Haynes with Farad Muhammad waiting. 7. Bell Haynes, an offer, and 3 more.
And Thomas Bruce was coming at him too. Good concentration by Bell Haynes.
A disheartening sequence for the Bearcats defensively, who forced a late shot that still found the twine. Tyler Stewart way off.
You know, Tim, they play with, I want to say, a relaxed intensity. I mean, they look like they're having fun out there, and they look like they're relaxed, but they're intense as well. You see take this down as low as you can on the shot clock, and then try to get a shot off.
Farad Muhammad with the chop block on Bell Haynes. It will be Vermont ball. Catamounts have shot 12 of 25 from the floor in the second. They want a double-digit lead. Double figures, and their lead is up to 13.
Yeah, you know, the average, 4 guys averaging double figures on this team. And you see Urquhart with 15, Henson with 10, Bell Haynes with 14, Duncan with 10, and Everett Duncan with 8. Remember last year, Henson was high man with 12. 2 guys had 9 and 4 guys had 7. So they are so balanced and so talented, top to bottom, that you can't key on any one person.
A win would give the Catamounts 8 in a row to open up conference play. Here a 13-point lead for the visitors. Bell Haynes slices, hands off to Urquhart. Muhammad, a rare block. Henson, a 3. And Muhammad's there. He draws the foul. Doug, in one surprising note, it's actually been an off night for the Catamounts from their deep shooting. This is a team that ranks 7th in the country in their 3-point shooting, but tonight below 30%.
Yeah, they usually don't. Well, they're at about their number now that they like to shoot, 17, 18, 19, 20. But Binghamton forced a couple of shots late in the clock in the first half, and they were it wasn't the shot that Vermont wanted, so they missed a few. But it's not their calling card, the 3-pointer.
Willie Rodriguez can shoot from there. Urquhart pulls down another rebound. Now the Catamounts have made up for it, though, in their offensive rebounding, and their defensive were 14 apiece. That is 14 turnovers forced out of the Bearcats.
And you see now for the last 5 minutes or so, they'll go as deep as they can in the shot clock, and then at about 10, they'll start to get something.
Henson with a smooth-looking fadeaway.
This is the game they play all the time. They're comfortable with it. So, you know, they play this in the first half. You take the shot clock down 10 seconds or so and then work. So they're pretty good at it because they do it all the time.
Stewart for Rose. Bruce waits and throws it down and the foul.
Yeah, Ernie Duncan got there a little bit too late. You see Rose with the drive.
Substitution number 22, Everson
He got him.
replacing number 4, Timmy Rose.
So Bruce will head to the free throw line.
Vermont foul charge to number 20, Ernie Duncan. That's his second personal.
Second foul for Ernie Duncan.
Bruce at the line, 1 shot.
Bruce 2 for 4 from the stripe today. Like, hypothetically speaking, not to pick out any team in this conference, but you were talking kryptonite for the Catamounts. In a general perspective, what does it take to dethrone a team like this?
Well, I tell you what, it takes a yeoman effort. You can't make too many mistakes. I would say you'd have to catch them on a bad night, and they don't have too many bad nights. They'd have to shoot poorly from the perimeter and the field, and you could probably only get away with 5 or 6 turnovers, and you probably have to score 75 points to beat them. And they don't give up 75.
Oh, what a play by Bell Haynes. The rebuttal on the other end of the floor.
Bell Haynes so good at going to the basket and drawing the contact. And if he finishes more often than not as well.
Doug, one thing that Vermont head coach John Becker talked about, saying that with Lamb out, not a ton has changed, but it just seems that teams are now daring Bell Haynes to shoot more, and he's been up to the task. His numbers have even gone up since Lamb has gone out.
Yeah, when Lamb was in the game and when he was healthy, every once in a while they would run some special plays for Lamb, and he would respond. With Lamb out of the lineup, anybody can shoot it, or they won't run a play for anybody. But Bell Haynes is so good at driving. He's so good at everything. So you can't take everything away from him. And so the only thing you want to do is maybe try to force him to shoot threes, because he's probably the least comfortable shooting threes.
And even then, not bad. Over 30%. J.C. Shao comfortable shooting threes. Davis clipped a Catamount.
Yeah, I think Everson Davis's elbow hit the back of the head of, is that Duncan?
That is a That's Everett Duncan. John Becker discusses that play with one of our officials, Kevin O'Connell. And here comes Eugene Santos, Vermont's athletic trainer. Never want to see that, as Everett Duncan, the redshirt sophomore from Indiana, receives attention from Santos. Jefferson Davis a bit overeager on that rebound attempt.
Yeah, he almost got it too, but in this day of concussion protocol, you got to be careful that he's not seeing stars. He's still a little shaken up.
Doug, when you take a look at the way the Bearcats have played this game, look at how this translates to what they can do in the standings. Look, Binghamton knew in the second half of the season there are 2 matchups against the Catamount. And right now it's a matter of getting those wins on the road that might have slipped away at home in the first part of the season.
Well, you know, with 4:22 to go and a 15-point lead for Vermont, they usually don't cough these up. So you got to kind of look, if you're Binghamton, now you have to go to Maine, one that you feel you should have had here. Then you're going to have UMBC at home. They cut it to 5 in the second half. They played pretty well down there. And then you have UMass Lowell coming in, the 4th game of a 4-game set there. A team that, man, you should have won that one as well. So there's a few in the future that Binghamton could win.
Everett Duncan did get up under his own power. Now he heads for the locker room.
Timeout, Vermont.
Catamounts want a timeout.
Another forced timeout by the good Binghamton defense. That's the 3rd time they forced Vermont to call timeout.
Take a look at our key players from tonight's game. Quite the performance from Drew Urquhart. Had just 2 points in the second half, but it was his work in the first that put him on this look. He had 13 in the first.
Yeah, 6 for 7, and he's missed his last 3 shots, but at one time he was 7 for 8. But the damage was done, as you said, in the first half.
Urquhart now averaging nearly a dozen points per game in his last 5. This is the same guy that averaged fewer than 5 points per game last season. It's where the Catamounts have succeeded. New guys, new opportunities, same results.
And when you get your chance, you produce. And throw in 3 assists for him too as well.
15-point Catamount lead. It's their largest. Trey Bell Haynes has had a heavy hand at that with 16 points this evening, making 17 points for Trey Bell Haynes. He'd love to get to 20 for the 5th time the last 7 nights. Haynes back, then forward, and uses the glass.
Trey Bell Haynes.
Boy, he's so good at changing speeds on the drive. He speeds it up, slows you down, then speeds it up again.
It's like a crafty lefty. Fastball, changeup, back and forth, and that hitter is totally off balance.
Yeah.
The Bearcats have been defensively as Bell Haynes has poured in 19. Now it's what will Bell Haynes do on this possession? He'll go right in, and he'll head to the free throw line. Bell Haynes a chance to get to the 20s. After this, his Catamounts have a 17-point lead as they stare down their 29th straight regular season win.
Media timeouts. Fans, once again, Bearcat women on the road ahead
join us on Saturday the 3rd. The next time the Bearcats will be on ESPN3, and that will be the BU women. They take on the Black Bears of Maine at 1. You can catch the BU men at home next time on ESPN3 when they welcome in UMBC. Tip-off set for 7 coming up on Thursday the 8th. 66-49 Catamounts. The Screaming Green doing their best to spice up the Bearcats, who gave the Catamounts their best for about 25-30 minutes. And Catamounts have worn them down to the tune of a double-digit lead.
Yeah, Binghamton doing a good job defensively. Vermont averages 50% from the field. They're holding them to 45%. On the flip side, Binghamton's only shooting 37%, and that's 4 less than Vermont usually gives up, so that's kind of a wash.
Trey Bell Haynes into the 20s. 5th time in the last 7 games he's done that. No stranger to the free throw line. Doug, nearly 30% of his career points have been scored this way.
And you see it. He's so good at changing speeds, as we just mentioned, and he finishes, and he's good at drawing the contact. He leans in and initiates the contact, and then usually gets the call. Little zone here by Vermont.
Bruce against Urquhart. In and out. Trey Bell Haynes on the rebounds. Catamounts have rattled off 7 straight points.
You see Vermont went zone that time because they sensed that Binghamton's going to work the perimeter with their man-to-man and try to get 3-point shots. So they go a little zone and cheat toward the shooters.
Bonus territory for Binghamton after Henson's foul. And that will put J.C. Shaw on the free throw line. John Becker coaching to the very end, and why not? Was named the America East Coach of the Year last season. 2nd time he has claimed that title. Was also a National Coach of the Year finalist. And his Catamounts have basically picked up where they've left off.
They're so consistent. They're successful. And when you have that much success, you become so much more confident. And a lot of this game is playing with confidence.
Put this in perspective, Doug, for those new players coming into Vermont. Of course, the seniors on their way out, including Trey Bell Haynes. But in a culture like this, as Bell Haynes catches and rolls, but misses one of her easiest shots of the day. This will stay with the Catamounts, but just one of those things where you breed a culture for your freshmen where they can carry that torch, and they've had the experience of winning.
Yeah, and then you see it. This is probably the only thing he's done wrong all day, but watch this. He hustles and he gets this ball back. He gets the possession. But yeah, to your point, Tim, you know, college basketball is a progression, especially at this level, the mid-major level. You've got to earn your time. You've got to earn your stripes. And these guys that are playing now, you know, the Trey Bell Haynes and the Urquharts and the Hensons, they had to earn their stripes. And you teach the younger guys how we play here and how we win here and what it takes to win. And that's how you sustain the program.
Ward, another senior. Rebound, Tyler Stewart. One thing John Becker talked about. Yeah, of course, you're looking for good basketball players when you recruit. Stewart off the mark with a 3. But he said you're also looking for guys that are going to be selfless for the organization and the school, knowing that they've got to put in their time before contributing.
Yep. Case in point, they were going to redshirt those 2 guys, and Petty and then Urso goes down. So now they say, okay, well, you're not going to, you can't redshirt now. You could, but we need you to play this year. And they sacrificed their redshirt year, and now they're playing and contributing to the team, and that's going to help them gain experience next year and the following year.
Case in point, Everett Duncan barely played his freshman year, redshirted last season, and now he's been front and center with his 23rd start, and he's produced. His brother, Ernie Duncan, drives. Bruce hauls in another rebound. That's 8 rebounds for Thomas Bruce, right around his average. Muhammad a long 3 try. That's good. Third one from deep for Muhammad.
Well, you know, pretty much the same movie over and over again. You know, they average 70 points. They're probably going to get there. They give up 59. They're pretty close to that number as well.
This was a 9-point game at halftime. It was a 3-point game after Willie Rodriguez knocked down a tray with 5 minutes gone by in this half. But then the Catamounts outscored Binghamton by 32-16 clip.
Yeah, they just, you know, there's hardly ever any runs by the other team like that against Vermont. Did you notice? I mean, that the worst you're going to get against them is a 6-0 run or a 6-1 run like UNH did to them, but then they come back with a 16-4 run or a 22-8 run, you know, and all of a sudden you look up and you're way down.
It's one of those things, Doug, when you look at a team, what ignites them. And after Binghamton had that 10-2 run, Willie Rodriguez comes out of the break, misses the free throw, and you could see Vermont's offense kick it up a notch in terms of their tempo.
You know, they methodically, as we said, they methodically just continue to do the same things over and over and over again. And when you do that, things all of a sudden will click, and you'll never have any dry spells, and you'll never have any runs by the other team. And you're so consistent.
Ward was off the mark with that free throw.
You know, the thing about it too is, Tim, they know that they're going to come in and play well and maybe beat you, and you know that they're going to come in and play well and maybe beat you, and they know that you know that. So that stems from success and confidence and playing together. They play well together. They play well together on the defensive end as well. A lot of teams will get fouled up a little bit on the defensive end, but they play a good team game all the way around.
This game will end with the ball in the hands of Trey Bell-Haynes. 21 points for Bell-Haynes, and the Catamounts pick up their 9th consecutive double-digit win. They beat the Bearcats by 14 to extend their winning streak. Catamounts basketball on full display tonight, though.
You know, it's a pleasure to watch them, to tell you the truth. They do so many things so well. It's enjoyable basketball to watch. They take good shots. They play selflessly. They share the ball. They're efficient. If they're not shooting threes well, they're pounding it inside well. They pick and roll well. They pick and pop well. They defense. They rebound. It's a solid team from top to bottom.
What in particular jumped out to you from tonight's game that they did well?
Well, they adjusted to Binghamton taking them out of their normal game. Binghamton kind of forced them to shoot some threes, which they don't really like to do, but they adapted. They addressed that. They were getting well defended, and they were patient, did some things a little differently. They went outside, inside, so yeah, they can adapt.
11 in a row overall, 8 straight to open conference play, and 29 straight regular season conference wins for the Catamounts. That'll do it for us tonight, but you can catch women's basketball on Saturday. The women take on the Black Bears on the 3rd. They tip at 1, and then join Doug and I next Thursday when the men are in action against the Retrievers at 7. For Doug Walsh and our entire ESPN crew, I'm Tim Hyman saying so long from the Event Center, where tonight the Vermont Catamounts kept up their winning ways, defeating the Bearcats 68-54. To watch this entire game on replay, as well as other games on our family of ESPN networks, log on to WatchESPN.com or download the Watch ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.